Hello and welcome to this tutor session. Myself Sagar Adhau and I'm lecturer with PwC's Academy. And my topic for the day is substantive procedures. And yeah, definitely a very important topic from Audit and Assurance paper. The moment we say substantive procedures, students generally feel it's one of the most simplest topic. We can easily score on this. But if you look at the examiner's report have been pretty consistent, and it says that the performance of student on this key area have not at all been satisfactory. So what does it mean? It means that we as students have been consistently inconsistent in not following what examiners say, and that's what we need to work upon. So substantive procedures, the reason I took the topic is because of this. Students find it easy, but examiners don't find it that easy when they mark it. Second, the topic is really important from exam point of view. We find a lot of questions being asked around this topic. Last few sittings, we have seen every session, there was a question on substantive procedure and the weightage goes from 10 to 15 marks, so a huge potential to score. But what exactly is substantive procedure? And that's what we miss. As a student, we just feel if we memorize some rote or do rote learning, memorize some tentative procedures, we can just write them in exam and score marks. But does it work that way? No, it's not like that what we feel. So take a look at this paper. Now as a student, what I do is I just read the requirement which says, okay, write down substantive procedures related to trade receivable, and I'm like, oh, this is so easy. I'll just write down whatever I've memorized one after another, all the points which I have memorized, and then I feel my paper was damn good. But in reality, you missed the most important part. Have you read this case? The case gives me more detail on trade receivables. Maybe the audit firm is saying that we don't want to go for confirmation this time, we want to use some alternative audit procedures. And if you have written confirmation as a part of the audit procedures, definitely you're not going to score marks on that. And that's the reason why reading case is very, 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 very important. Now, what are standard answers? As a student, we generally say, okay, verified appreciation. If a question is on substantive procedures related to plant and machinery, we say physically verify asset. But that doesn't make sense. The moment you say verified appreciation, you're not bringing in the actual audit technique. What should be the procedure to collect this evidence? What will be the evidence? How to verify it and why to verify it? That's really very important when you write your answer. It's as if you appoint me as an assistant for Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes says, go and verify fingerprints. Whose fingerprints? Verified with what? To a certain what is not been answered. So in exam, when you put your answer for substantive procedure, don't let your examiner or marker thinking what your intention is. Be very clear when you write your substantive procedure answer. So if you ask me as a trainer, my recommendation is whenever you write your answer on substantive procedure, ensure that your substantive procedure include three basic elements. The first element is what exactly I'm going to do. Most of the students have a tendency of writing verify, verify, verify. No, it's not like that. When I am doing audit, how do I verify? I have my procedures to collect audit evidences. Are you going to recalculate? Are you going to compare? Are you using analytical procedures? Are you going for inquiry, observation? That first word needs to come in. The second word or the second part of your substantive procedure should say exactly which document I'm going to use. So for example, I can say inspect, that's the verb I'm using. Second, the lease agreement or the lease contract. So that exact document, evidence which you're using. And third thing is to establish what? So to verify whether the rentals recognized are correct or no. So all in all, if I have these three pieces as a part of my substantive procedure answer, I'm definitely going to score some marks. So a recap again, a verb, followed by which document or evidence to use and to verify what. In exam, we are not very comfortable as a student. Most of us feel that the assertions which I mentioned are just there for the sake of making the book bulky, but it's not like that. You need to be very confident on the assertions. If you don't know the assertions, I don't think you're at all prepared for audit and assurance exam. Now the question is, do I really need assertions to form audit procedure? And the answer is yes. If I get a question on land and building, substantive procedures related to land or building, I need to know that there are two set of assertions. One set related to SOPL, one set related to SOFP. As land or building sits in SOFP, what are the assertions? The first one is existence. Now the moment I have in my mind, okay, I need to verify existence, I'll write an audit procedure to verify existence. Second is valuation. Then how do I verify valuation? So if you have assertions in your mind, it will ensure that you're not going off track. You're exactly writing all the procedures which are there to verify assertions. But why do I verify assertions? So ISA 500 says that when you're doing audit, or when you're performing audit, your motive is to collect evidence so that you can form and express opinion on financial statements. But what kind of evidence I need? I need sufficient and relevant evidences. So if in exam you don't mention relevant ones, you will never ever get marks. And for substantive procedures, I need to know that my answer only includes the relevant audit procedures, which is helping me to ensure that assertions are being met. In question sometimes, your exam question sometimes will be very specific on the assertion. If the question comes on assertion like valuation, ensure that your audit procedures are only covering the valuation aspect. And if in exam I get a question, I don't know how to form audit procedures, always keep in mind one simple guide. Keep in mind the assertions which are applicable. Then I need to come up with audit procedure for every assertion. Second, the ledger. Imagine a ledger in your mind. Close your eyes and okay, receivables. What all item impact receivables closing balance? Discounts, credit sales, cash received. So if I verify everything, automatically my closing balance will be verified. Third thing is what all documentation are related to this procedure. That's really helpful. And the most important tip. As a student, we have a tendency of writing management representation letter everywhere in all substantive procedure answer. Please don't do that. This is the last resort where we don't have exact evidence. That's where we use management representation letter. And even if you're writing management representation letter, ensure that you justify why you are going for management representation letter. So before stopping, a quick recap. My audit procedure answer should first talk about the verb, how I select a verb, A, E, I, O, U, analytical procedure, inquiry, then I'll talk about calculations, I'll talk about remeasurement, so that thing, plus which document to verify, last to verify what, use of assertion always is a value add. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the session and best of luck for exam. Keep studying, enjoy studying. Thank you.